everyone, and welcome back to the channel. In this episode, we are going to be starting on a new project. We have some fun stuff going on right here with all this pink string. But before we get into this, I want to give an update on the shed. There's been a few final things that we need to do on the shed. We got to do siding. We're going to be milling that lumber ourselves. We have 3 or 4 huge poplar trees at the bottom of the hill down there. Tulip poplar is actually the Tennessee state tree, which is pretty cool. And a lot of barns around here use tulip poplar as a siding. Just in this area, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trees just surrounding me. There's probably 20 around here. And these are just huge trees, and we could probably use 2 or 3 of them, and that'd be more than enough to do siding on the shed. Now, we've put off cutting them down for the summer just because it's such a mess down there still with all the debris from the tornado. And so we're waiting for it to clear up a little bit to go ahead and cut those trees and start on the siding. We also have the roof to finish up. We have the rake trim and the fascia and the chimney. Once all of that's complete, we'll pretty much be done with the outside and ready to start working on the inside of the house. And the big problem with that right now is the inside of the house is just filled with all kinds of construction materials, lighting fixtures, electrical. Pretty much everything we've been using to construct this project is inside it right now. And we need to take all that stuff and get it out of there so that we can finally start doing the finishing. We've got a big epoxy floor we're going to do on the concrete and start laying everything out in there. And in the past, we've had our tents outside. We built this tool shed, but we're really looking at a more permanent solution for getting some of that stuff out of there. And so we want to do a 12 by 24 shed outside. And I need to call it something other than a shed because I already called that the shed. We call that the shed, and I guess we gotta call this one the shed. But I don't know, maybe we'll call it the abandoned shed storage facility or something. Definitely let me know what you think we should call it. And basically what this is gonna be is like what we've built on the additions. So the exact same thing as the addition, but just placed over here. And we're gonna be doing it with lumber that we mill ourselves. So we've got a bunch of pine logs over there. We wanna put them on the sawmill and mill everything and hopefully save some money by not having to go buy all that framing material. And so I have some 3D models I want to show you guys of this in a bit, but before we get into this, we have a couple more projects that we're going to be working on at the same time, and I want to show you a couple of those projects. And so over here we have our sawmill, and one thing we've been planning for a while is a sawmill shed, a big covering for this so that we can work out in the weather. A lot of times now we have to wait until it's not raining, or if it can get too cold. So it'd be great to have a place that we could heat up in the winter and still continue milling. And the construction of this is actually going to be really similar to how we did our front porch. We're going to be pouring 8 concrete piers, and the posts for it are going to sit on top of those piers. And so while we're doing the concrete for our new building over there, we also want to have these piers formed up and ready to go so that the concrete truck can just drive over and pour in those too. And then also on this project, we're going to be milling all that lumber ourselves with the pine logs that we have. We also have a 26-foot red oak log that we're going to be doing a huge beam out of for this. It's going to be the biggest thing we've milled yet. This is going to be a fun project. Couple things you have to do with that. The final thing we have is our solar kiln. And so the solar kiln was the last thing we were working on before the tornado passed through. We had started doing some grading on it and kind of getting everything where it's going to be, and then that project just got put on pause. We still need to fix the grading on this, and so while we're doing the grading on this, we want to have them come over here and go ahead and get this graded and ready to go. It's going to be great to have a kiln because once we start milling stuff for inside the house, we don't want any possibility of bugs being in there, and we're going to be able to need to dry things a little bit quicker. So that's another project we're going to be working on. I know all these 3 things seems like a lot of random things to be doing, but they all kind of rely on each other. And so we just want to go ahead and make sure we get the coordination going on all these things, especially before it starts to get too cold outside. We're gonna be starting today over on this new building. We have to shoot grade for it and go ahead and figure out exactly where we want it so that we can go and get our footers dug. So we're starting by setting up this laser level, and it's gonna shine a laser really level, and we'll be able to reference that line in different points and see how much we're off and what we have to correct for. All right. What's that one?
So the first number is going to be 3 foot 5 3/4. 3 foot 5 3/4.
Okay. All right, so now we get to find out how much it's gonna drop over here. It's really hard to tell by looking at it. I feel like I've gotten a little bit better at it. I can definitely tell it's dropping, but how much is the question?
Okay, it's going to be basically 4 foot 2 1/4. All right.
Was that like a 9-inch difference?
We'll compare it to what I shot the other day. 4 foot 6 1/4. And then this last one.
This one's gonna be the most dramatic, right? I'm probably blocking it. Oh, and by the way we came up with the location for this slab, we lined the front of it up with the front of the house, and then we lined up this edge of it with the edge of the tool shed. What we got on this one?
5 foot 1 inch.
Oh, wow. So over a foot drop. 5 foot 1 and what?
And 1 inch. That's like probably 20 inches drop, isn't it?
Just 5 foot 1?
Yeah. So that means what? 20-inch fall, right? Ish, 19-inch, whatever. 12 plus 7 is what? So now what we want to do is go back and replace these stakes with bigger poles so that we can actually set them all at a level.
So from that corner over there to right here, we had about 19 1/4 inches that the ground has sloped. And we actually saw something similar to this when we were doing the additions on the shed. So you can see at the front of the house here, there is a little bit of concrete exposed. And once we come around to the back, it's a pretty significant change. So the ground is definitely sloped here.
Tighten it up down there.
This weather's kind of eerie.
That's weird, isn't it?
Do you feel what I'm talking about? It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just strange.
So now we can cut that one too, make it into a loop, because I just tied it around. From here.
So where are we setting that one at?
From here to here. Well,
yeah, it's 1.5.
Right. Okay. So we're gonna add like 1 inch or something to it. I don't have my tape measure. Let me go get that. It's gonna be like 20 inches up or something. I'll try.
Whoa.
Needs to come up just a hair. Up more. Up a little bit more.
It scares me every time.
Kind of crazy. It doesn't. There's no part of that looks like it makes sense. Is it? I'm getting that laser right in my eyes.
Yeah, that's what I came to do. I knew there was some slope, but I had no idea there was that much.
If we dig down there, then we're gonna have a problem with drainage on that side. I mean, the water comes down between here, and if we want to raise the grade in the back and raise the grade over there, then this corner can't be too buried. And of course, on this side, if it's too far up, right now...
We'll have to add a staircase over there.
We'll have to have a step no, but that's fine.
I mean, the biggest thing I'm looking at is if we're putting a garage door right here, we don't just need a little ramp. Like, we need a huge ramp at this point if it were gonna be where it is right now. It makes me wonder if we should even put the garage door on this side or if we should put it over there.
Well, if we push it on there, we can't back a trailer into it.
Yeah.
And we can build a ramp. I mean, we can raise that up. Raising that up is not the end of the world. I mean, because the water can still flow around this. We don't want this water. If you look at the grade here, this all comes down and around. So if we berm this side up, and I wanted to show you this because if we do a parking thing here and we make it level so that it's water is, you know, naturally going here and not into the building, we kind of want it up off grade there. But we can't change anything about where the tool shed is versus that.
All right, so I want to give you guys a preview of what it is we're going to be building. We've been working on the design of this for a while, and we had Tony, Artisan Tony. He's a longtime supporter of us in the channel. He helped us make a 3D model of what it's going to look like. With a little bit of movie magic, I can kind of show you what it looks like here. So on this side, we have a door that's the size of the garage door. It's the same as the addition that we built. On the back side, next to the tool shed, we'll have a door to enter there, also some windows. And in the front is just gonna be just the plain board and batten siding. Really simple framing, and hopefully, I mean, I guess now I have a lot more experience in doing it, so we should be able to knock it out a lot quicker than when we were originally doing the additions. And also, you might be wondering why we sloped the roof the direction that we did. So I think the roof does look a little bit odd at first, but the reason that we're sloping it that way is because it's pretty much south, and we're planning on filling this roof up with solar panels, and we'll feed that power over to the main house. We decided that we don't want to put solar panels up on the house because, one, it's not really the best position for it anyway, but also it was so much work putting that roof on that we just don't want to start drilling a whole bunch of other screws into it for mounting panels. So we're going to do it to this one instead. So we'll have those panels on the roof, and then we've also thought about doing a solar carport next to this somewhere, and then maybe even another one on the other side of the shed. We'll just have to wait and see how much solar we end up needing and using. But yeah, this should be great for storing a lot of stuff. We have a bunch of those big, what's the size on those totes?
Like 17 or 20 gallon HDX totes, the big yellow and black totes. We have
stacks and stacks of those totes, so it's gonna be great to pull all those over here. A lot of that stuff under the tent that we've been trying to keep out of the weather. Yeah, it'll just be great to have a place for storage. And a lot of that stuff is stuff that's gonna be eventually installed inside the house, so it'll end up shrinking over time. And eventually, we'll probably be able to make this some other kind of workshop.
So which is why we want a garage door and to be able to get in it on this side. I'm not so concerned. I mean, we can build a ramp up to this. We could build, you know, up to this. I mean, it's not perfect.
We should even do like a concrete ramp.
Yeah, no, we may do it separate. Like, what we would probably do is redo all the grade and push stuff around and make all the mess at one time. And then we would come back and do a ramp. But we don't need it right now. For right now, the only thing that matters is the man door that's over in the corner. This will actually, I don't even want to cut the door out like what we did over here. I just want to move everything through the door.
Just leave this.
Just leave this sheeting over it like we did for the long time before we cut the doors out, and just not even go there, because the whole point is I don't want to get too distracted on this project.
Yeah.
Basically, we need to dry it in and seal it from ladybugs and stink bugs and seal it from water. And then when we're doing our poplar, that will get the primary poplar we start. And then as we're finished with it, if we still have poplar left over, we'll start doing around this one.
Right.
And get this one. And we really still will need to get, remember our original plan was between the middle of May and between the beginning of May and the end of June, when the sap goes up in a poplar tree, we can peel off the poplar bark. And we were getting ready to do that the week of May 8th.
What were we gonna do that for? A little secret project we got going on with that.
So what I'm thinking is that we get these trees down now, and then we go find, we'll probably be short of poplar here, and then we go find another tree somewhere in May to cut down to finish the siding here, and we get our poplar bark at the same time. And
we could just take all the bad pieces of siding that we don't want to put on there and put them on here.
No, I think we do that
like
from
what
the beginning.
we did with the tool shed.
Yeah, I think we do that. Yeah, so, and the mistake I don't want to make this time when we're calculating is when we did the tool shed, we actually had enough poplar to do it all, but we started on the back side where it was 7 feet. And by the time we got to the front, we didn't have enough long ones left to do that side. So we had a couple of half ones. But overall, what has helped us is that the tool shed has been sort of a test project for everything we're going to do. This tool shed now has a year of time on it in the direct sun with no stain, no oil, no anything. We purposely mounted some of our boards the wrong way, so they cupped the wrong way. Remember, we wanted to see, and we can see exactly what that is. We used some of the boards that were pith boards, which are crap boards that we now, we would avoid now, but we know what we get. And then I think the other thing is the door. I'm not sure if they can see the door, but the door, we actually milled that, and they're not really amazing boards, but we milled it, put a varnish on it, and it's actually stayed really nice. So if we decide to
that
do...
door looks awesome.
Huh? I know. If we...
It's like the highest quality door we've ever had, and it's on a tool shed.
Yeah. So it's like if we were to be able to
heavy.
use poplar inside even, etc., that's an example. Now, this poplar actually sat outside for a year before we used it. So it got to dry. This will go on green, so it's going to have a lot more shrinkage.
And we never stained it, so it has that waxy white mold stuff on it now.
But it wasn't bad. Like, I mean, it's there, and it would be interesting to take the pressure wash it,
and stain
like
it.
in the spring, and stain it, whatever we think we might want to stain that with.
Right.
And do it, and then we'll let that board sit up. So the idea here is that we have this project that sort of we're learning as we go on that, because we're just not experts in milling wood and using wood. So I think what we'll end up doing is building this up some and on the side and not worrying so much about it, and then eventually pushing some dirt here because we can get it, pushing some dirt here, and we have enough out here that we can slope it.
Yeah, and we were originally planning on doing the grading for this week, but it's just been raining all week up until today, and I was out of town on Monday. So maybe we'll be able to get to this next week. So it was great to take a look at this and be able to actually see it. And so now the next step will be just to wait and monitor the weather. We should be able to get Eric out here, our neighbor, to help us do some grading. We're actually going to prioritize our septic field in the back. We still haven't done any grading on that. And we also want to get the septic tank covered up because we don't want a big flood to happen and the tank lift out of the ground or anything like that. So we're definitely going to prioritize that. We also, probably next week, we'll start forming up our piers for our sawmill shed. While we have him here, we'll also have him take a look at this, get some opinions on this. Also, please let me know what you guys think about this. Tell me what you would do if you were doing this. Now that we have our model built on this, we have a cut list of exactly what we need to build this. And also we're working on that with the sawmill shed too. So we have a huge cut list. So we are definitely not gonna be running out of anything to do around here for a while. But that's gonna be a wrap for this video. I wanna give a big thank you to everyone that has liked and subscribed. Also, thank you so much to everyone that backs us over on Patreon. We really appreciate your support, and we'll see you guys next time.